Let's get something straight right now. Self-love is not about bubble baths, scented candles, or posting a quote about choosing yourself on social media. It's not soft. It's not passive. And it's not just feeling good about you. Self-love is war. It's the daily battle between the version of you that wants to stay small and the version of you that knows you were made for more. And if you're not actively choosing the latter, every single day, life will choose for you. And you will not like the result. Today, I'm going to show you what self-love really means in 8 powerful truths that will change the way you see yourself, your relationships, and your life. When you really think about it, the hardest person in the world to be honest with is yourself. We have no problem calling out when someone else is lying, when they're hiding something, when they're putting on a front. But when it comes to our own lives, we are masters at putting on blinders. We tell ourselves stories that make us feel safe. We edit out the parts of the truth that sting. We convince ourselves we're fine, that things are not that bad, that we can handle it. But deep down, in the quiet moments when nobody's watching, we know. We know when something is wrong. We know when we've settled. We know when we've been ignoring the voice inside that's been screaming for us to wake up. The thing is, pretending is exhausting. It might buy you temporary comfort, but it costs you long-term peace. And the truth, yes, it's uncomfortable. Yes, it might rip the ground out from under you, but it's the only place you can build a life that actually belongs to you. When you keep lying to yourself, telling yourself you're happy in a relationship that's draining you, pretending that you're just tired, when in reality you're deeply unfulfilled, convincing yourself you're not capable of more, you're living a version of your life that was never meant for you. The truth is the key that unlocks the door to change, but most people don't turn it because they're afraid of what they'll have to face on the other side. Self-love demands that you look in the mirror and say, "This is where I am. This is how I really feel. And this is what I want." No sugarcoating. No half-truths. Just the raw, unfiltered reality. Because until you can do that, you can't even begin to heal, grow, or change. And yes, the truth will hurt. It will break illusions you've been clinging to. It might end relationships you thought would last forever. It might force you to admit that the way you've been living isn't working. But that pain is not punishment. It's the price of freedom. Every single breakthrough in your life will start with telling yourself the truth, even when it shakes everything you thought you knew. Because that's when you finally start living your life, not the version you've been performing for everyone else. And here's the part most people get wrong. They think self-love is about making themselves feel good all the time. They confuse it with self-indulgence. They think, if I love myself, I'll give myself whatever I want whenever I want it. But that's not love. That's sabotage in disguise. Self-love is not giving in to every craving, every whim, every excuse your mind throws at you. It's not staying in bed all day because you don't feel like getting up. It's not avoiding the hard conversations or skipping the workout because you deserve a break. That's comfort, and comfort is addictive. But it's not the same thing as care. The real definition of self-love is self-discipline. It's doing the things you know will make your life better even when you don't want to do them. It's saying no to the people, habits, and distractions that drain you, even when it's tempting to say yes just to keep the peace. It's keeping promises to yourself, not because anyone else is watching, but because you are. Every single time you do what you said you would do, you're teaching yourself that your word matters. You're proving to yourself that you can trust you. And that trust? That's where true confidence comes from. People always ask, how do I believe in myself? The answer is simple. Keep promises to yourself until the belief is undeniable. Discipline is the proof. It's the evidence that you're on your own side. Think about it. If you had a friend who constantly bailed on you, who made plans and never showed up, would you trust them? Of course not. But that's exactly what you do to yourself when you break your own commitments. Self-love means you don't do that anymore. You show up, even when it's inconvenient. You do the hard thing, even when it's uncomfortable. You push through resistance, not because you feel like it, but because you know the person you want to become is on the other side of it. Discipline is not punishment. It's the ultimate form of self-respect. It says, I care about my future enough to make choices today that protect it. And when you start living that way, something shifts. You stop chasing validation from others because you've already given it to yourself. You stop looking for someone else to rescue you because you've proven you can rescue yourself. And you realize, maybe for the first time in your life, that the most powerful thing you can do is keep showing up for you every single day, no matter what. There's a moment in life when you realize you've been holding on to something or someone far too long. Maybe it's a relationship that once made you feel alive, but now leaves you feeling small. Maybe it's a job that once felt like an opportunity, but now feels like a cage. Maybe it's a friendship that's been running on old memories, long after the connection has died. And you keep telling yourself, it's not that bad, or maybe it will change because walking away feels like failure. But here's the truth. Walking away is not weakness, it's wisdom. It's the recognition that your energy, your peace, and your future are too important to be wasted in spaces that no longer feed your soul. Self-love means you stop making excuses for why you're staying and start making decisions about where you're going. Sometimes walking away is a quiet decision. You stop answering the calls, you step back, you create space. And sometimes it's loud. You pack your bags, you close the door, you change the locks. Either way, it's a declaration. I choose me. You are not obligated to set yourself on fire to keep someone else warm. You are not required to remain in situations that demand you abandon yourself in order to belong. And yes, people will judge you for leaving. They will call you selfish. They will say you've changed. But you have. You've changed because you've finally decided your worth is not up for debate. Walking away isn't just about leaving something behind. It's about stepping toward something better, even if you don't know exactly what that looks like yet. It's trusting that your future will thank you for the decisions your present is too scared to make. And here's the thing, you will grieve what you leave behind. You will doubt yourself. You'll have nights where you wonder if you made a mistake. But in time, you will realize you weren't just walking away from them, you were walking back to you. And once you've taken that step, the next piece of self-love is this, taking full responsibility for your life. That means no more waiting for someone to come and make it right. No more blaming your parents for how they raised you. No more holding your ex accountable for your healing. No more using your past as an excuse to stay stuck. You are the only one who can change your life. And the sooner you accept that, the sooner everything shifts. Responsibility is not about blaming yourself for what happened to you. It's about claiming the power to decide what happens next. There's a big difference. When you're stuck in blame, you're powerless. You're always waiting for someone else to fix it, to apologize, to make amends, to hand you the life you deserve. But when you take responsibility, you stop waiting. You become the person who initiates the change. You realize that your happiness is not dependent on anyone else's behavior. Your future is not limited by anyone else's opinion, and your healing is not in someone else's hands. That's freedom. But it's also terrifying, because if you are the one responsible, then you are the one who has to do the work. You can't hide behind excuses anymore. You can't keep saying, I can't because you either make the change or you don't. And yes, it's hard. It's hard to admit that you've been holding yourself back. It's hard to face the fact that some of the situations you're in right now are a result of your own choices. But that honesty is the first step toward taking your power back. When you stop pointing fingers outward and start looking inward, you stop being a victim of your life and start being the architect of it. And here's the most empowering part. Once you take responsibility, you realize you're not stuck. You have options. You can leave. You can stay and change how you show up. You can build something entirely new. Responsibility opens doors you didn't even know existed because it puts you back in the driver's seat. And when you're in the driver's seat, you get to choose the destination. You stop drifting toward whatever life throws at you and start steering toward what you actually want. And that is what self-love looks like in action. Choosing your direction instead of letting life choose it for you. There's a weight you carry when you haven't forgiven yourself, and it seeps into everything. You might not notice it at first because it becomes part of the background noise of your life, but it's there. It's in the way you second-guess yourself. It's in the way you hesitate to take opportunities because you don't believe you deserve them. It's in the way you sabotage good things because some part of you is convinced you should still be punished. We've all done things we wish we could take back, said words we regret, stayed when we should have walked away, given up on ourselves at the worst possible moment. And if you're not careful, those moments can trap you. You replay them over and over in your head like you're serving a life sentence for something that happened years ago. But here's the truth. You are not that version of you anymore. You have learned things, grown through pain, survived mistakes that should have broken you. Holding on to guilt or shame doesn't make you a better person. It makes you a prisoner of the past. Forgiveness isn't about letting yourself off the hook so you can avoid accountability. It's about setting yourself free from the constant replay of moments you can't change. It's cutting the rope that's been dragging behind you so you can actually move forward. Because when you don't forgive yourself, you're not living. You're just existing with a permanent anchor tied to your heart. And the worst part, that unforgiveness keeps you small. It keeps you from stepping into the opportunities and relationships that are meant for you because you keep believing you're not worthy of them. Self-love demands that you stop punishing yourself for not knowing than what you know now. You did the best you could with the awareness you had at the time. Now you know better, so you can do better. That's growth. And growth deserves grace. You cannot fully step into your future while dragging the corpse of your past behind you. Forgive yourself. Not because what happened was okay, but because your future is worth more than staying stuck in what's already over. And once you've made peace with your past, you have to protect your present like it's sacred. Because it is. Your peace is not a luxury, it's a lifeline. Without it, you cannot think clearly, make good decisions, or show up as the person you want to be. Yet so many people give their peace away like it's nothing. They say yes to obligations that drain them. They allow people to speak to them in ways that tear them down. They stay in environments that constantly trigger stress, anxiety, or self-doubt. And then they wonder why they're exhausted, resentful, and burned out. Self-love means you become fiercely protective of your energy. You start noticing what disrupts your peace and you deal with it, not by complaining endlessly, but by creating boundaries so clear they are impossible to ignore. Boundaries are not walls, they are doors you control. They don't shut everyone out, but they determine who and what gets to come in. And once you've experienced true peace, you become unwilling to compromise it for temporary approval or the comfort of avoiding conflict. People might not like your boundaries. They might push back, test them, try to make you feel guilty for having them. But here's the thing. If someone benefits from you having no boundaries, they're not going to applaud you when you finally set them. That's okay. Your peace is not up for negotiation. Every time you say no to something that drains you, you're saying yes to something that builds you. Protecting your peace might look like limiting your contact with certain people. It might mean turning down opportunities that would pay you well but cost you your sanity. It might mean taking more time alone to recharge instead of always being available. And yes, it will feel uncomfortable at first, especially if you've spent years putting everyone else's needs before your own. But that discomfort is temporary. The peace that follows, that's permanent. Because when you protect your peace, you're not just protecting your mood in the moment. You're protecting your mental health, your relationships, your focus, and your future. You're building a life where you can actually breathe, think, and grow without constantly being pulled into chaos that doesn't belong to you. And that's not selfish. That's essential. Growth is uncomfortable. There's no way around it. It's supposed to be. We like to imagine growth as this beautiful, inspiring journey where we just keep getting better and better. But in reality, it often feels like loss before it feels like progress. It will ask you to outgrow people you thought would be in your life forever. It will push you to challenge patterns that have kept you safe for years. It will force you to confront parts of yourself you'd rather keep hidden. And here's the kicker. Most people stop right there, at the first sign of discomfort. They retreat back into their comfort zone because it feels familiar. But familiar is not the same thing as good. Comfort zones are where dreams quietly wither and die, where you trade the life you want for the life that's good enough. You can't have both. You either choose the discomfort of growth or the slow decay of staying the same. And self-love, real self-love, is about choosing growth every single time, even when it scares you. Because that fear you feel, that's a sign you're stepping into something bigger than you've known before. That's where the change happens. Think about the moments in your life when you felt the proudest of yourself. I guarantee they weren't when you played it safe. They were when you took a risk, tried something new, said yes to something you weren't sure you could do. And maybe you didn't get it perfect, maybe you failed along the way, but you grew. That's the gift of choosing growth over comfort. It reshapes who you believe yourself to be. It gives you evidence that you can survive the awkwardness, the uncertainty, the challenge, and still come out stronger. Every time you step into discomfort, you prove to yourself that you're capable of more than you thought. And once you know that, you can never go back to pretending you're powerless. But here's the thing, growth isn't just about those big leaps and bold moves. It's also about the quiet, unglamorous moments when you show up for yourself, even when you don't feel like it. We tend to wait for motivation to strike before we take action. But motivation is unreliable. It comes and goes, and if you let your actions depend on whether or not you feel like it, you'll never build the life you want. Self-love means you show up anyway. You lace up your shoes and take that walk even when the couch is calling your name. You sit down to work on your goals, even when it would be easier to scroll your phone. You keep the promise you made to yourself, not because it's convenient, but because it matters. That's the part people miss. The real transformation happens on the days when you don't want to do it, but you do it anyway. Those are the days you're building discipline, resilience, and trust in yourself. Because when you show up consistently, even without the hype or the energy or the perfect mood, you're proving that your commitment is stronger than your excuses. And that changes everything. You stop being at the mercy of your emotions and start being in control of your actions. You stop relying on fleeting bursts of motivation and start relying on the unshakable knowledge that you can count on yourself. Showing up for yourself isn't always dramatic. Sometimes it's just getting out of bed when you'd rather hide from the world. Sometimes it's making one phone call you've been avoiding for weeks. Sometimes it's having that hard conversation with yourself about where you're falling short and what you're going to do about it. And every time you follow through, you're stacking proof. Proof that you are the kind of person who takes care of themselves. Proof that you are capable of doing what it takes, even on the hard days. That's how you build confidence, not by waiting to feel ready, but by doing the thing and letting readiness catch up. Because when you live this way, your life stops being about what you hope will happen someday and starts being about what you're creating today, right now, in this moment. This is what self-love really means. It's not a mood. It's not a hashtag. It's a daily decision to choose yourself in every moment, in every room, in every season of your life. So here's my challenge to you. Starting today, choose just one of these 8 truths and live it. Not tomorrow. Not when life gets easier. Now. And when you do, I want to hear about it. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Share your own self-love breakthrough. And let's make this a conversation we keep coming back to. If this spoke to you, like it, share it with someone who needs this reminder, and subscribe so you don't miss what's next. And tell me, what topic should we dive into next? Your story might just inspire the next video.